Hey, y'all, and welcome to another episode of the OPG Pursuit podcast. Again, my name is Chelsea, and I am the admin assistant for the Fishers branch of Opportunities for Positive Growth. The purpose of this podcast is to give you, the listener, insight into OPG culture. Each episode, we are going to showcase a member of our OPG family and learn a little bit more about them. I like to have people introduce themselves, so mystery guest, please introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do for OPG.
Hi everyone, I'm Kayla Rothgeb and I'm a behavior support specialist here with OPG. I also do behavior supports through pet therapy techniques, which is kind of a subcategory that I'm doing with behavior supports.
Can you tell me a little bit about why people need behavior support specialists?
So a person may need a behavior specialist if there's a specific behavior that is interfering with them living their best life. So for instance, it could be a behavior that's causing safety concerns or a behavior that's prohibiting them from working or maintaining daily living. For instance, somebody who has anxiety may need a behavior specialist to assist them so they can work a stable job. Or a person with a target behavior of elopement may need a behavior specialist to maintain their safety so that they're not crossing the street in traffic or running away from the home for a long period of time.
How long have you been with OPG? How'd you find this establishment?
So I've kind of done a little bit of, I wouldn't say everything, but I've dabbled in a lot of different things with OPG. So first I was a DSP. I found OPG at a job fair when I was a college student at IUPUI. So I worked as a DSP for about 3.5 years, and I was around some behavior specialists from OPG during that time, and I decided that I wanted to do my last college internship for my master's degree with OPG as a behavior specialist. So I was an intern from August 2015 through May 2016, and then got hired as a BSS in May 2016. So I've been a behavior specialist about 3 years next month.
Did you start out going into behavior specialist training in your college career, or did you start out in a totally different?
So originally I started college doing psychology, and then I switched to social work. I knew I wanted to do something with people with disabilities, but I wasn't really sure what yet. And then as a DSP, I learned about being a behavior specialist, and that's how I kind of started going in that direction. And I would say probably my sophomore year of college, I knew.
Do you have any people in your family that have a disability, or are you close to anybody with a disability?
Yes, so I have a brother who has autism. He was diagnosed a little bit later in life when he was a teenager, and he is now holding a job and graduated from high school. Another tie I have is I was growing up with people with disabilities, as my mom was a direct support professional in our hometown for a long time. And then while I was in college, I was living in Indianapolis, and down the street lived a lady and her daughter who had Down syndrome, and that relationship has blossomed, and we hang out all the time as a natural support.
We grew up with a family friend who had a daughter with Down syndrome too, so we kind of have that tie, and I think it's so important to introduce your children to people with disabilities or people that are different from themselves, maybe a different race, different sexual orientation, just letting them know that there are people that come from different backgrounds and that you can learn from them. I think that's just so important to instill in children. What do you want people to know about people with disabilities?
So I have a person I support who's very good at advocating for people with disabilities, and she just came up with this quote, and it's always resonated with me, and when people ask me this question, it always makes me think of what she said. So she says, "I am not special. I am not unique. I want the same things everyone else does. I may take longer to get there or a different path, but that's okay. I don't let my disability define me."
That is beautifully said by the person that you support, and I agree 100%. People with disabilities, be it physical, mental, emotional, they just want the same things that every person wants, right? They want love, they want a job, they want supports around them. So I think that's something that we definitely, in OPG culture, try and really work on.
The culture that OPG facilitates definitely, it's part of our mission and values, so absolutely.
So you mentioned that it is almost Pet Therapy Day. Would you say that's the title, or is there a more unique title
to
that day?
That it's not, I don't even know that it's nationally acclaimed, but a pet therapy agency came up with National Pet Therapy Day, which is on April 30th.
So tell me a little bit more about how people can get involved with Pet Therapy Day, maybe learn a little bit more about how therapists use pets in their practice.
So pet therapy is usually used in hospitals or hospice, sometimes in schools. You'll sometimes see them in libraries helping children read. So
how do they help children read? I don't think I've ever seen that, so I'm really interested in hearing that.
It's very interesting. So they, instead of having a child read to a person, which could be intimidating, they read to the dog, and the dog is not going to have any negative reaction. They're not going to correct you. They just listen. So, and then provide a couple licks of encouragement here and there.
Oh, yeah, that's so sweet. I just want to walk into a library now and see a bunch of dogs and children reading to dogs.
Yeah, so pet therapy is kind of unique in the fact that it can be used for so many different things. The essence of pet therapy is to just provide support. So you may see a pet therapy dog, again, at like a nursing home or a hospital, but you also might see them walking around OPG. Ironically, on Tuesdays, Pet Therapy Day, with some of the people I support. So you might see Audie walking around today, and if you see her, feel free to say hello.
Just so you have inspiration, I just provided a picture of her two dogs. So we'll just switch a little bit into that, actually. Talk a little bit about Finley and Audie.
So they are both miniature Australian Shepherds. They actually are related. They both have the same dad, but different moms, although they look very different, and you would never know. Audie is 3 years old, and she's what they classify as a red tri miniature Australian Shepherd. She's much smaller than Finley. She's only about 10 pounds. She's a very sweet, cuddly, caring dog. Some people really enjoy her because she's very dramatic in nature. If you walk by her in the office and don't say hello, she will definitely let you know that it hurts her feelings. She thinks she needs to be the center of attention all the time. Finley, on the other hand, is opposite. He's very chill and relaxed, but he's very silly. So he will do a lot of really goofy things, but at the same time, very calm in nature, and he's very playful and active.
Can you tell me the differences between a support animal, a therapy animal, and a service animal?
Yes. So pet therapy is to support others. So they go through a training certification process, but the support is not for me. So I'm not allowed to bring the dog on an airplane with me. I'm not allowed to take it into grocery stores. The dog service is to other people in settings where people may need support. A service animal is for medical needs, and those dogs are the ones that are allowed to go into grocery stores and ride on airplanes and just wherever the person needs, as they may provide support for seizures or PTSD. And then there's the emotional support animals, which provide support to their owner. And depending on the classification that the doctor gives, that person may be able to have their pet live free in their home if they're renting an apartment, or they may be able to take that animal on an airplane or in anxiety-provoking situations, but they are not allowed in public places like restaurants and grocery stores.
And don't touch them, right?
Yeah. So service dogs are the ones you're not allowed to touch. Mm-hmm. Pet therapy, always allowed to touch. And then emotional support, you just need to ask the owner.
Probably a good idea to ask anyway, right?
Yes. Yes.
never a good idea to just go up to an animal that you don't know and touch the animal, even if they're trained to support people.
Absolutely. Most dogs have a startle response, and they have fight or flight too. And you're taking a gamble whether what one you'll get and if you go up to a dog without asking.
Mm-hmm. I am surprised all the time when I'm taking my dog Snuffles on a walk. He is a big St. Bernard Poodle mix, so he looks like a teddy bear, looks super friendly and cuddly. And I, all the time, will have people come up to him and grab his face and just like shake it. It just blows my mind. Usually children are the ones that actually ask to touch Snuffles, so it's very interesting.
Yes, it's very surprising how people react. Part of behavior supports through pet therapy in the curriculum that we do, we teach not only the whatever target behavior or skill we're working on, but we teach dog safety, because I find a lot of times people don't know that you shouldn't put your dog in a dog's face. Or you shouldn't touch a dog without asking, or running up to a dog, and just those safety skills people tend to not know.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about the training that your dogs had to go through to get them certified?
Yes. So originally we started with just some training classes at Alpha Canine University. Both did about a year of obedience training. We started out both in puppy classes, so both of them started about 6 months of age, and then went all the way to advanced classes in obedience. Both of them have their Canine Good Citizen Awards, where they had to do testing and obedience to make sure that they were good around other dogs and could do basic commands. Finley has an extra award for the Community Canine Good Citizen, where we went to different parks and stuff, and he had to go through a bunch of different testing to say that he's a good dog in the community. And then after...
I like that he actually has an award that says he's a good dog.
Yes.
That's like the ultimate dog award.
He's very proud of it. There's a picture of him with his little medal, and he's got a big smile on his face.
If you send that to me, we will definitely put that with this podcast.
Absolutely.
That just sounds like a visual that people need.
Yes, I will find that picture. And then after the obedience, I found a company called Alliance of Therapy Dogs. That's where I am pet certified through. So we did some testing. They had to, again, go through all the stuff that they did for the Canine Good Citizen. That testing really helps you prepare for the testing that you do for being a therapy dog. And then they had to go through 3 different observations. A couple of them were in a nursing home, and then the other one we actually did here at OPG. Both of them passed their certifications, and then they were pet therapy certified. And that's for volunteer purposes all you need. If you're going to volunteer with pet therapy, all you need is those certifications. However, if you're going to take it a step further and have the dog provide comfort while at work, then you have to go through a couple extra processes for insurance purposes.
So having all these certifications and having your pets as a part of your practice probably sets you apart. What gave you the idea to introduce your pets into your support services?
So, as you know, OPG always talks about achieving your dreams. From a young girl, I've always dreamed of working with animals. I actually, when I graduated high school, decided I was going to be a vet until I interned in a vet clinic and about passed out during a surgery and decided that probably wasn't going to work for me. So, took a way different path, started behavior supports, and then I met a few people who were doing pet therapy, and I just started kind of brainstorming how can I achieve my dream of working with animals while doing behavior support, which is also something I love. And I pitched the idea to Gina, and she loved it, and we kind of went away with it.
Yeah, and I think that definitely gives you an upper edge and gives OPG an upper edge, because people are always seeking different ways to think outside of the box and work with people that we support. And pet involvement is definitely something that's in everyday life. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a perfect combination, and I give you kudos for thinking of ways to mesh all things in your life that you really love.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sure. Can you give me some examples of how Finley and Audie have successfully added to your therapy sessions?
Yes. So I did ask permission to share a specific story with one person. I have a little girl named Harper that I work with, and she is now 5 years old. And that is actually one of the reasons they started behavior supports, as they found out I was doing pet therapy. And so we started behavior supports with pet therapy with her, and actually one of her target behaviors is fear of dogs. And we work on some other things too, but that was the big basis because her mom worked in a vet clinic for a really long time, and they want a family dog. And because Harper is so afraid of dogs, they can't have one right now. So when I first started working with her on pet therapy with behavior supports, she would scream and run away just at the thought of dogs. Like if you showed her a picture, she would scream and say no. When they encountered dogs in their neighborhood, she would run away. So she was very afraid of dogs. So we started with I would show her pictures of Audie and Finley and talk about them. I took some videos and we talked to Harper through the video with the dogs. And then I brought Finley to her house and we set him up in the crate, and she could just kind of sit near him while playing on the iPad and starting that desensitizing process. Now Harper is petting Finley independently. She'll count to 5, do her 5 pets with Finley, and he just sits still and enjoys it. Surprisingly, she is playing fetch with Finley, which Finley, that's his favorite thing to do. So he's calm until you bring a ball in the picture, and then he is super excited. So
was that scary to her?
No. Honestly, she was excited because he'll bring it up and he won't hand it to her, but he'll put it next to her on the couch. So he's close to her, but not touching her, and so she liked that, and she liked just the excitement. Per her request, we started bringing cheese to sessions because she saw a picture of Finley eating cheese in the pictures I was showing, so that's her bond with Finley, is Finley gets cheese when she's around. And I got an update from her parents about a couple weeks ago that while walking in the neighborhood, she was within 5 feet of another dog that she didn't know, and she didn't scream and run away. She just stood at her parents' legs and just kind of kept her distance, but didn't scream and run away.
That is definitely a success story.
Yes.
That's awesome. Was there something that happened with another dog, or was it just she just was afraid of them because she didn't really know what they were?
I think what happened, she had a family member who had a dog that was a little more excitable and knocked her down, and she, ever since then, was afraid of dogs because of the overexcitement. And that's what I find a lot with the people that I support that have a fear of dogs. There's usually some experience that triggered their fear, and sometimes it's just, some dogs are a little more excitable than others, and unexpected reactions can be scary.
For sure. What do you love most about your job?
So I would say the thing I love the most about my job is I get to be on the go all the time. I'm not a person who could sit in an office all day, so I give kudos to everybody who can sit for long periods of time. I like being on the go, but then I also get to see people set a goal, and we work towards that goal, and it may take 2-3 years to achieve it, but seeing the small steps of them achieving those goals and dreams, and just the excitement they have when they achieve those dreams and being a part of that process is truly amazing.
Speaking of dreams, what is one of your dreams?
One of my dreams right now is to get the interior of my house put together. We moved in November and have not painted, have not decorated, really haven't done much of anything. So my dream is to finally have the house how I would like the house.
Do you have a vision of how you want your house? Or do you have like your Pinterest board ready to go? Or
I know how I want my office. It's more of a farmhouse style. And then for the living room, we have kind of kept with that theme. But for the other areas of the house, we haven't really decided yet.
So is it like an older house, or is it a newer house? You said it's farm style, so that...
Yeah, I think farm style because I grew up on a farm, so it kind of brings a little bit of home to the city, I guess. But the house is only about 20 years old, so...
Okay. So you grew up on a farm. Did you have to do farming yourself?
I didn't farm in fields,
Okay.
but I raised pigs and did 4-H.
Did you bring your pigs to the fair?
I did.
Did they win anything?
Actually, yes. One year I was reserve champion at the Indiana State Fair with one of my pigs.
All right.
Yeah.
Look at you go. The Indiana State Fair.
Funny
Such
story.
a pastime.
There is a theme with me and OPG and my farm history. When I was hired on, Dan and Gail sat in the room with my resume, and Dan slaps my resume on the table, which was outlined in red completely. But what was all outlined in red was all of the farm work that I had done. And he spent 30 minutes, Gail ended up just leaving, trying to convince me to bring a pig from my family farm in the trunk of my car to his house so he could butcher the pig.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was kind of my intro to OPG.
That is, I don't know how I would react to that because I am vegetarian, been one since I was 8. So anything relating to slaughtering of animals just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
For sure. I would not do well living on a farm because I know that's probably something you have to get used to.
Luckily, I never had to see or be a part of that process. It was they went away, and if I knew it was a pig that I liked, I just chose not to eat pork for a long period of time.
Well, that doesn't work for you. Where do they tell you they're going? Do they say they're going?
Yeah, I mean
they're not going out to pasture because that doesn't really work.
I mean,
on
they
a
were
farm.
honest, but that's why I avoided eating. I mean, they were like pets to me,
Right?
So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
Oh, that's a good question. I think if I could be any animal, I would be a dolphin. Just because I love the ocean, and I think they're amazing creatures, and they just get to travel all the time.
Would you say a dolphin is also your spirit animal? Because I think there's a difference between a spirit animal and what you would want to be as an animal.
Yeah, I could see them being my spirit animal too. I think I have the free spirit of a dolphin and liking to, I like to be around people, like to be in their pods.
Mm-hmm. They're very protective.
They're very protective. So yeah, I could see a dolphin also being my spirit animal too.
Nice. Dig it. What is one of your favorite memories?
I would say my favorite memory is going fishing with my dad and my uncle. Because it was always a really good time, and at that point in time, I was the only girl in the family, so I was very tomboyish, and they always I remember them laughing at me all the time because I would always get super excited that I saw a fish, but I was so excited that I wasn't fast enough to reel it in.
Or you scared the fish away?
Yeah, I scared the fish away, probably. I was very loud and excitable, so I would say just those memories with my dad and my uncle were probably some of my favorite memories from my childhood.
Very cool. Yeah, fishing's great too for just meditating, really getting, and yeah, if you're with family,
yeah,
it's just such a great bonding experience.
Mm-hmm.
What's a guilty pleasure that you have?
Guilty pleasure. I would say I love to take hot baths and watch Netflix for an hour.
Yeah.
So.
What's your Netflix go-to right now? At least?
Right now, well, I would say Hulu right now. I'm really obsessed with The Act.
I've heard it's really good.
Good show.
Yeah. And the real life story is just insane.
It is. And then the social work part of me is very fascinated by the Munchausen by proxy, since it's such a rare disorder to have. And so, it's been very interesting to me. But my fiance always makes fun of me because I'm watching TV while I'm taking a bath, and he doesn't understand why.
That's a totally normal thing to do.
Combine those two things together.
Yeah, and you're relaxing and,
yes,
just soaking in your bubble bath. Really enjoying that. What is something coming up that you're really excited about? And I think I know the answer,
So I'm really excited. On July 1st, I will be getting married. We are going to Hawaii for a destination wedding and then spending 2 weeks there. So almost less than 2 months away.
Are you having a small get-together of just family and friends, or are you just going by yourselves with a few witnesses?
So both of our parents are going, and that's it. So it'll be very small and private. It's very elopement style, so I've not had the stress of planning a wedding, which is fantastic for
It's
me.
awful. I can definitely tell you now, I'm never wanting to do that again.
Yeah, that's when we asked friends when we were thinking about getting married, you know, what would you change about having a big wedding? Would you still have a big wedding? Would you elope? And almost everybody said destination wedding. So that's where we got that from. But we're having a reception in August after everything is over with family, so we can celebrate. But we're excited about just the small, intimate wedding.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a wedding is for you and your partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for everybody else, even though I've had people tell me, no, it's for your guests, you know, at least the reception part. The ceremony, which is normally 15 to 20 minutes, unless you're having a Catholic wedding, that's for you. But it's crazy. Like, it's good to see family. I would say that's something that I loved the most about our wedding is just I had family members come up from Valdosta, Georgia, and Florida, which is where the majority of our family members are from. And it was just cool to see them and see them support two people in love.
Yes.
That's what you're going to love about your reception, but what you're going to love about your wedding is just taking that time to be with your soon-to-be husband. Are you writing your own vows, or?
We are.
Okay.
I've not started them yet. I probably should get on that.
I had friends who wrote them day of, so you're
probably
better off than
couldn't
that.
do that. I don't like having all the attention on me, which is probably one of the reasons we have an elopement style wedding. But no, haven't read the vows yet, but we plan to. I don't think he has either, so we're kind of on the same page.
That's all right. Inspiration will come to you.
Yes.
It really will. Can promise you that. So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's very exciting. Have you been dating long? Or?
Yes, we have been together 7 years officially, but we actually met, I was in middle school and he was in high school. We rode the school bus together. So kind of a cheesy, cute story, but we've known each other for a really long time.
How would you define love?
Oh.
That's a big question.
That's a big question. I would define love more as something that you don't want to live without. So for me, you know, could I live without certain things? Sure, but something that I don't want to live without. Something that you look forward to seeing, or, you know, doing or talking to every day. I think for me, that's what love is. Love is something that you could do without, but you just definitely don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People just love to find somebody that completes them and that, you can go home and talk to and you won't feel judged.
Yes.
Again, going back to pet therapy, you don't feel judged.
Yes.
It's
safe place.
A safe place, yeah. It's home at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
What's the oldest thing that you own?
So, my great uncle passed away recently, and when we were going through his stuff, we found this blanket that was made in 1932. And it was passed down through all of the Rothgeb family. So right now I currently possess that, and I'm supposed to pass that down to my children as if and when I have them. So yeah, that's the oldest thing I have is this old handmade blanket from 1932.
It's beautiful, yeah. And then you can make all these family history or family memories based off of this blanket, you know? Go to picnics, wrap yourself up in the blanket when you're watching The Act with your children, which will by that point be a very retro show, which is pretty crazy to think about.
I know, right?
Last thing I'm going to ask you is, what do you think is the best thing about you?
I would say the best thing about me is my passion to help others. At some points, it can almost be a fault. I have a hard time putting myself first sometimes, but I think the best thing about me is how much I care about other people. And I attempt to put all of my effort into helping whoever I'm helping at that point in time.
Wonderful. Kayla, thank you so much for doing this with me. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking to, talk about yourself and just get your ideas out there, let people know who you are. So I thank you for your bravery and stepping in there for the second episode, and I can't wait to hear more about people that work here and get to know them. That's the whole point of this. So
Thank you.
yeah, of course, thank you again. Hey there, everybody, and thank you so much for listening to the second episode of the OPG Pursuit podcast with Kayla Rothgeb. To see a few photos of Finley and Audie getting their certification training, please go to Facebook, go to the Opportunities for Positive Growth page, and check out the OPG Pursuit podcast photo album. Thanks, everyone. Bye.